So, further comment. How about all those names, huh? Oh, da baba da what? But welcome to the ancient world and how people kept track of time and whose son, whose father, all that stuff. Again, further comments. Now, here we have doulos, slave, and hupakao, obedience. And the whole chapter, this little section here, this is now that you have been made like Christ, symbolically resurrected from death when you were baptized into water, symbolically dying to the old nature, the old self, the person who used to have to take care of themselves, completely unknowing that you had a Father in heaven who was entirely willing and delighted to take very good care of you. And yet, that this takes a long time to develop, having the Spirit of God imputed into you or placed into you, into the very center of your being, the core of your whole personhood. And now it needs to be fed just like an infant. And Paul talks about the infancy to the childhood to the, and the New Testament writer of John, the beloved, talks about the same thing from babes to children to young adults to old men who are very seriously involved in the bringing along called elders. And nowadays in today's church, usually we just vote as elders. We vote in the richest guys who we think can handle money the best. And this is hardly indicative or representative of spiritual maturity. But to move on. So you have now this opportunity to devote yourself to doing the good thing, which is considering yourself to be a slave to this new righteousness. Oddly enough, this is the law of God. That is, you could begin with the Ten Commandments. And the first commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, body, mind, and spirit. You're in 1,000%. Okay? And this is the beginning of a real Christian walk. Which I'm sorry if you disagree with this, you wanted to have Christ in a box that you took out of the closet on Sundays and put on all of the garb of Christianity, and you went to church and you sat patiently through maybe adult Sunday school and then a nice sermon, and then you went home and you put Jesus back in the box and you stuck him up on the shelf until next Sunday, and then you did whatever you wanted to do because we're under grace. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. Not how Paul is explaining here 2,000 years ago to the Roman pagan world. And the same dynamics or the same things that affect the human personality have the same effect today, in today's world. Only, in my opinion, sometimes it's much worse. Rather to be stuck in a pagan world with limited access to any kind of valuable or validated information like we do today, and be confronted everywhere with all kinds of pagan gods and goddesses and practices and things that were associated with that world of 2,000 years ago, and today's world with all of the misinformation, disinformation, television, internet, you know, just as an aside, the pornographic world, that is the pornography that we watch today, is exactly representative of the pornographic world of yesteryear. Of we have unearthed Pompeii, which is ruins from Mount Vesuvius, a volcano that erupted, and we can see that they had all kinds of porno pictures on the walls of their homes, which was pretty much the same as we have today with all of the magazines and all of the internet pornography that you can look at. These things excite, and I wanted to just close right now with where do you get your serotonin, your epinephrine, and your dopamine cocktail from, in order to intoxicate yourself or to dull yourself down so that you seem to feel like, okay, you've achieved some kind of peace or stability or what I call stasis in your life? Or do you get it from the clarity of the Holy Spirit, of knowing the truth, of standing righteously, choosing to yield your whole personhood to obeying simple commands like do not commit adultery, don't steal? You realize that there's about 100,000 different forms of theft, from stealing a glance at a pretty girl. That's what furtive means, to have a furtive glance at ooh, 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 or to borrow. That's one of the most misused words now in the English language. I just wanted to borrow it. No, without permission, without going to the person directly and expressing, I want, if you would you let me use your lawnmower or your ladder, please? I want to cut my grass, or I want to climb up to the spot. And the guy says, oh yeah, your next door neighbor. Oh yeah, sure. No, it's in the garage. No problem, right? But if you say, well, I just want to borrow it, you go in their garage and you take their lawnmower or you take their ladder and and she comes and says, well, what are you doing? Hey, up. No theft allowed. Again, John Wilcox. If I have to spend the next 9 weeks on this particular aspect of living the Christian life, I will, because it is so important and it is what separates. Remember, Jesus reveals himself to be very absolutist. He would prefer if you shined him on and said, oh, the heck with that. I'm going to go do exactly what I want to do. Set him up, Larry. Come here. I'm buying. We're going to get drunk. Okay. He prefers that because you're really ice cold towards him, as opposed to being merely lukewarm and saying, oh, yeah, no, I'm a kind of. It's a nice story. Again, John Wilcox attempting Romans.